Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make videos for NBA, make videos for NFL. All these videos, they get posted on this subreddit right here. It's called DF Sports with one S. I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. Anything you need. You can ask me questions about the slate. Pretty much anything you need, I'll have this link down below. If you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on Twitter. I'll respond to you there, or Reddit Messenger, but the fastest way to reach me is through just comment here, type something, yeah, I'll reply to you. So now that we got all that out of the way, my lineup, I think I'm going to cash tonight. I think, so my lineup today, I'm not, the games are still going, but you guys know I don't sweat my lineups. But my lineup today was pretty straightforward. Drew Holiday, Peyton Pritchard, Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Luke Cornett, D'Angelo Russell, Al Horford. Maybe I won't cash because Al Horford did horrible. We'll see. And who was my last? Did I say Tatum? I think I said Tatum. Who was my last? God, why is this so hard to figure out? Let's try this one more time. Luke Cornett, Jason Tatum, Peyton Pritchard, Drew Holiday, Al Horford, D'Angelo Russell. I'm not entirely sure. I think I'm going to cash. We'll see. I'll update you guys in the video next time. But my core today, it was Luke Cornett, smash. Peyton Pritchard, smash. What else? Oh, Bobby Portis was in my lineup. That's who it was. Like I said, my core today was, yeah, Luke Cornett, smash. Peyton Pritchard, smash. Who else? Jason Tatum, bust. And who is the fourth? Drew Holiday. He did well even in the blowout. So that was my lineup. That was my core today. I think it'll be a good night. But like I said, I will update you guys in the next video. Sorry about all these tabs. I've been researching this slate. I always have a bunch of tabs open when I'm researching stuff. So apologies in advance for that. I may have to like re-look at some stuff as well while I'm going over this video because there's a lot of weird stuff, like Pacers, they could have a bunch of people out. Memphis, they're already really, really thin. So, like, going over rotations, all that stuff, pretty important to look at. So, let's get into this slate. Chicago at Toronto. So, it's an okay spot going up against this new Toronto teams. Like, Vooch, DeMar, Levine, White, I think they're all fine. I think they're all a bit too cheap. I'm not going to prioritize any of these guys, but, I think they look fine to solid at their respective price points. And we know they're going to play, DeMar close to 40 minutes. They're going to play Levine mid-30s minutes. They're going to play Kobe White close to 40 minutes. We know they're going to play Vooch mid-30s minutes. Like, yeah, all below 8K. I think all are firmly in play for tournaments for me. I have a feeling DeMar or Vooch will probably be the most popular. So if you want to go to one that's lower owned, I think that's fine. But yeah, I think they're all fine to solid at their price points. Definitely a bit too cheap, like they've been the past few weeks or so. We have Alex Caruso, 5.6K. I mean, I would say at this price point, he's getting to the price where probably a little bit overpriced for my liking. So I don't think I'm going to go out of my way to go to him. But statue stuffer should play around 30 minutes. I mean, I just don't love the price point. Outside of that, I mean, I don't know if I go to anyone else. I think we'll just have much better value on this slate. But like Patrick Williams has been playing decent minutes. I mean, if he plays fine at that price point, I think we'll have better value though. Like we have potentially, like we have Marvin Bagley. We have possibly some Memphis. What else? I think Toronto with Gary Trent, right? But still fine. He's been getting decent minutes. He's sub 4K. I'm fine with it. Moving on to Toronto. So obviously Siakam is not with this team anymore. The Toronto era has finally ended. So you're going to get a starting lineup of Manuel Quickley, Gary Trent Jr., RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, and Jonte Porter. I mean, if Jonte Porter can just stay out of foul trouble, I'd like him. But it seems like this kid is just always, always in foul trouble. He's not the worst point per minute guy, and if you give him like 30 minutes, assuming he can stay out of foul trouble, I do like him at 4.6K. It's just, can this guy stay out of foul trouble? I really don't know. I just don't know. Has pretty good G League stats. Praying he can just stay out of foul trouble for once. But yeah, if he can stay out of foul trouble, I do like Jonte Porter for value. Then another guy I like quite a bit for value is Gary Trent. How many minutes did he finish with tonight? Started, I believe he played pretty big minutes, but you guys know the drill with Gary Trent. If he's not hitting his shots, he does have a low floor. I have a feeling he might be pretty popular tomorrow, but assuming he does continue to start, I do like Gary Trent quite a bit for value. And then, if you think like Jonte Porter gets into foul trouble, they're going to extend like a Thad Young. I believe that's what happened tonight. Yep. Dennis Schroeder will play around 30 minutes off the bench. I think he's reasonable to solid at 5.7K. And then I like the main guys. I like Quickly a ton. I like RJ a ton. I like Scotty a lot at these price points. These three guys, they're just going to do everything for this team, especially with no Siakam anymore. And they're going to run a really, really tight rotation. So, I like the main guys here. And RJ, Scotty, and Quickly. I think the best, to me, point per dollar is probably going to be Emmanuel Quickly. His role on this team is just elite right now. His potential assists are way up. He's shooting the ball a ton. He's stuffing the stat sheet. He's doing absolutely everything for this team, and I am so, so happy that he is finally on a team that's actually playing him, going to develop him. So I really like Quickly. I think all the other starters firmly in play as well. And then, like I said, the value. Porter and Gary Trent, I think, are solid as well. Chris Boucher, he's in the doghouse. Not going to go there. And yeah, let's move on to Washington. So we have Gafford out. I would expect Marvin Bagley to start at 5. If that's the case, I absolutely love Marvin Bagley. I would assume he would have to get big minutes here. They just have no one behind him. So assuming Marvin Bagley starts, I guess they can always start Kuzma at the 5, but I would assume Marvin Bagley starts here, assuming he does. I love Marvin Bagley for value. And then if you think the game stays competitive, some of the price points are intriguing. It's just this team is just so disgusting. They're always getting blown out. But if they keep the game close, Kuzma's going to have a big game. They're going to run tighter rotations, with guys like Tyus, Denny, Jordan Poole. So they're all viable tournament plays. They all have ceilings. But I think my favorite play here is definitely going to be Marvin Bagley, assuming he does start. You're going to see some Kispert, not necessary on the slate. You'll see some Koulibaly. I don't think it's necessary on the slate. And then we'll see. I'm not going to play the newly additioned Livers. Not going to do it. Just not going to do it. Let's move on to the Knicks. Really, really good spot here. I think there's a good amount to like here. So, Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, I really like both at their price points. I think both are too cheap. Both are playing close to 40 minutes a game. Both are dominating usage. Both are stuffing the stat sheet. Premier matchup, why did I say premier? Nut matchup against the Washington Wizards. I mean, I really like both Randle and Brunson. Hartenstein's playing 45 minutes a game right now. I believe he ended with 41 minutes tonight, if that's what I saw. When he stays out of foul trouble, he is playing all the minutes he can handle. So I still like Hartenstein, even at that price point. What else? You guys know? Oh no, Gafford's not in. Unfortunate. OG Anunoby also playing huge minutes. I think he's very, very safe. Dante Hart, they're kind of going with the hot hand with. I would say Josh Hart usually will play around 30 minutes. Statue stuffer. I think he's a very safe value. Dante's overpriced for my liking. Can't go to McBride with Brunson in. I'm not going to play guys like Quentin Grimes, Malachi Flynn, those type guys. Moving on to OKC. So really, really good spot here for them. SGA, one of my favorite spin-ups on the slate. Really, really good spot. Although Utah has been playing much, much better of late. I think their defense has gotten better as well. But pace-up spot, looking at the spin-ups on the slate, I think, you have Sabonis who's up there. We'll keep an eye on Halliburton. But it's really just SGA and Sabonis. And I do give the edge to SGA slightly. So I really like SGA up at the top. Going to play huge minutes. Going to do everything for this team. Pace-up spot as well. So really like SGA. Chet more of a tournament play for me at 7.8K. The range of outcomes with him are definitely up and down for a big, but you get a game where he goes for a couple blocks. I think that's fine. I would personally rather play Lauri Markkanen on the other side of this game at a similar price point to Chet Holmgren. What else? I think Jalen Williams at 7.2K is also a pretty solid play. He's been playing big minutes of late. He's actually overstepped Giddey in terms of roles on this team, so I don't mind Jalen at that price point. Giddey, I mean, now I believe he beat his Kitty case or something. I don't know, but should play low to mid 20s minutes. I would say he's priced right, but does have a ceiling. Ludor, I mean, good defender, get defensive stats. If he hits his shots, does have a ceiling. I think he's priced right though, but fine to solid at that price point. And then Isaiah Joe's been getting more minutes of late. I believe he actually closed last game because he was playing really well. But another guy with a ceiling, I think I'd much rather just play Gary Trent, though at the same price point, right? But he's playable in large field tournaments. I don't know. Like I said, I think we'll have better value on the slate. I don't know if it's necessary to go to guys like, Kenrich, who I played yesterday. Moving on to Utah, this is another team that's very, very frustrating. So with Utah, I mean, the only guys that I really trust right now are Markkanen and the guards, like Sexton and Clarkson, because they're going to get around 30 minutes regardless. And Markkanen's going to play big minutes if the game stays competitive and he stays out of foul trouble. So if you think the game does stay close, I like Markkanen's ceiling at 8.3K. Stuff in the stat sheet, doing a ton. I think 8.3K is reasonable, especially if you're playing anyone on the other side of this game. I think Markkanen's fine to solid. And then Clarkson, Sexton, I mean, it's tough because the minute ceiling on them is like around 30, but both clearly have ceilings when they're hitting their shots. Like more tournament plays for me, but I think they're intriguing tournament plays because both do have pretty high ceilings when they are hitting their shots. What else? John Collins at 5.5K has been starting at the 5. Minutes have been solid of late, except for in blowouts or foul trouble. Like he's been getting up to mid-20s to around 30 minutes a game usually. I think he's reasonable to solid, so I like John Collins there. Keontae George, I mean, all the value on this team, it's pretty tough. Like you're gonna see some Walker Kessler, you're gonna see some Keontae George, you're gonna see Simone obviously. Like Simone's gonna play mid-20s minutes. It's fine. You're going to see some Agbaji. You're going to see some Linux. Like, the only guys I really trust on this team are the main four right here. If I had to take any shots on anyone, I think Walker Kessler would probably be your best bet. Probably plays teens minutes, good point per minute guy, good shot blocker. He is now down to 4.5K, so I don't mind that. Chris Dunn has been starting. He's only been playing around 20 minutes. I mean, it's reasonable. Keontae George, I mean, his minutes been in the 20s. He's also been playing in blowouts as well, I believe. So if you think like the game blows out and you want to target a guy, Keontae George would probably be your guy. Let me just make sure, because I know he's been closing in blowouts pretty much all year. Yeah. So like he would be your guy. I think if the game stays competitive, he probably sees, around 20 minutes. What else? Don't think I like much else here. I think, Kessler, George, intriguing if you're like, especially George, if you're playing for blowout, it's fine. Moving on to the Pacers, so really hard to talk about right now. We have Halliburton questionable, we have Mathurin questionable, we have Bruce Brown, he got traded, so he's not going to be available. We have Nesmith also questionable, we have Obi Toppin also questionable, so pretty tough to say right now. If Halliburton plays and he's not on some type of limit, what's his injury? Hamstring. So we'll see. Hamstrings are pretty tough to come back from, so I don't think he'll be playing in this spot. But if he is, I would assume he'd be on some type of limit. It will kind of just kill everyone else for me, pretty much. But if we get a situation where everyone that was out last game is out again, so Halliburton, Bruce Brown, Nesmith, and then Mathurin and Toppin play, I believe the starting lineup they went with was, Andrew Nembhard, Buddy Hield, Benedict Mathurin, Jalen Smith, Miles Turner. Let me just make sure that's right. That is right. So assuming the same guys sit that sat last game, and they go with the same starting lineup, in a pace-up spot going up against Sacramento, we know the guys that are going to shoot the ball. We know it's going to be Mathurin. We know it's going to be Buddy Hield. So I like both of them for tournaments. Nembhard be very, very safe at 5.8K. Him, T.D. McConnell are going to split the guard duties. If Obi Toppin's out, I feel a lot better about Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith also gets back up 5 some as well. He would be locked into more minutes as well. Miles Turner, more of a tournament play for me at 6.9K. This is tough to break down. Isaiah Jackson's not getting a ton of backup 5 minutes right now, so it's hard to go to him. What else? T.D. McConnell at 5.9K. Not getting enough minutes either. I feel like I'm missing some stuff here. I don't know if I am, though. I think that's it. So if the same guys that were out last game that are out again, and we get that same starting lineup, I like the ceilings on the wings. Nembhard's safe. if Obi's out, Jalen Smith's minutes a bit more secure, but he's always been in foul trouble. I would expect low to mid-20s regardless. What else? And I think that's it. And then if we get a situation where everyone's out, then, we're just going to have to wait and see. It's going to be a wait and see approach. I'm sure we'll get some news hopefully tomorrow. They could, if everyone's out, they could start, like if Mathurin's out, they could start like a TJ and an Nemhard together. That could be a potential opportunity. And then, we're going to have to start looking to like Buddy Hield, who would be their number one option. What else? Then they're going to have to start dusting off these bench guys. So keep an eye on that. It's hard to break down right now. I did my best. Keep an eye on that. Moving on to Sacramento. Sabonis has just been on a tear of late, and they're running a pretty tight rotation. So I'm not going to say no if you want to play Domantas Sabonis. Like I said, I think I give the slight edge to SGA, but I think Sabonis is a very, very good play as well. De'Aaron Fox is fine. I think I prefer getting up to Sabonis. I think Sabonis just has the better spot, and he's been phenomenal of late. And I think they're close in price point now to where I think I just prefer Sabonis. Malik Monk at 6'4", his minutes have also been really, really secure. He's been playing pretty big minutes off the bench. We know he's a good point per minute guy. He gives him a pretty decent spark off the bench as well. Stuff the stat sheet. I still think he is solid, especially in this matchup going up against the Pacers. It's pace-up spot. So I like Monk. Keegan Murray at 6K I think is a bit too cheap as well, so I like him. What else? Kevin Huerter's fine at 5.2K. Harrison Barnes will just have better value. Trey Lyles is playable. He lost minutes last game to Sasha. I'm not going to play Sasha. And let's move on to the last game of the night, Memphis. So last game, Memphis went with a starting lineup of Luke Kennard at the point. They went with Luke Kennard, Zaire Williams, Vince Williams, Jaren, and Tillman. Really bad spot going up against the Timberwolves, and a ton of blowout risk here. But if they go with that same starting lineup, then I think Zaire's a solid value. What else? Luke Kennard at the point should play decent minutes. Played 32 last game. His 4+ ceiling goes up. I like him. Tillman, if he can stay out of foul trouble, really, really bad spot, but he is a ceiling. He's also going to play big minutes if he can stay out of foul trouble. Jaren Jackson Jr., he's going to have to do absolutely everything for this team. Not a good spot, though, but, his ceiling a ton. These main Memphis guys I do like. What else? You've been seeing a ton of GG Jackson off the bench at 4K. Solid point per minute guy. I think he's a solid value. I believe Conchar was a DNP last game. I think I'm almost positive, but you're going to see some Santi Aldama. You're going to see some backup point Gilliard, and you're going to see a little bit of Roddy. Now, they could switch up the starting lineup. They could go Gilliard back to the point. If they do that, then I like Gilliard. And then still like the main guys here. Like Vince, he's playing 40 minutes a game right now. Tillman's going to play a lot. All the main guys here, they're going to run 9-man rotation probably. So Memphis, it's scary up against Minnesota, but they do look good. All right, so can Memphis keep this game close? If they can, I like Anthony Edwards at 8.4K. Once again, I think he's just a tad bit too cheap here. He should be above a 9K player, so Ant looks good. I think Cat's solid at 8K. I think now that they're close in price point, I think I'd rather just play Anthony Edwards. Rudy Gobert, another guy that everyone's just overlooking, and I don't understand why. Rudy Gobert is playing all the minutes he can handle right now. Obviously, he's going to get you a double-double every single night. Probably going to get you a couple blocks to go with it. When he's playing close to 40 minutes a night, and he's going low-owned every single slate, I'm still going to keep saying he's a pretty good play. Mike Conley at 5.9 is priced right. McDaniels is priced right. I don't know if I get to anyone off the bench. I think we'll just have better value on this slate. So that's going to wrap it up for the video. Hope you guys had a good night tonight, and I will talk to y'all in the next one.